don't even know what to say to start. Hey everyone, that was the stupidest thing I've ever done. I move my hands so much when I talk. Hey everyone, it's John with San Diego Seed Company, and today we're gonna go through 5 things that you gotta know about melons, how to grow them right, how to harvest them right, and how to really just enjoy them. And in the 5th one, we're gonna work some passion fruit in and give you a little bit of insider secret that we use here at our home and that you need to be using at yours.
Nice tease, John. Woo!
Before we jump into it though, be sure to like and subscribe so you can stay tuned with everything that we're pushing out all summer and all year long. All right, first tip, we're gonna get right into it. Direct sow. Melon seeds are a little bit bigger than most seeds, and so they can handle being outside. So watermelon seeds, we've all eaten them, we've all been there, it's okay. So these guys, a little bit bigger than a lot of greens, a lot of herbs, they can handle being outside. As with any seed, it needs to stay moist in order to germinate, but these can handle being outside a little bit more than a lot of other seeds can. Just make sure that those temps are at least 60, 70 degrees. Always check the back of your seed packet for more planting info, and so that way they can thrive. Of course, always check the seed packet for all sorts of information like your planting depth. Usually it's about twice the size of the seed. Check the back of the seed packet for ideal spacing as well. So that gets us right into number 2. Melons are, I already know what I was gonna do. Melons are big. That's just the nature of the crop. All right, right here we have 2 Moon and Stars watermelons. Now these are sprawling a good 15 feet at this point, and they're just gonna keep on getting bigger and taking up more room, crawling all over the pathways, so make sure you have the space for them. These are not something that many balcony gardeners are going to want to grow, or if you have a small space, make sure you're giving it a trellis or a dedicated spot where it can really just do its thing. Now, even though this guy is not full sun, it's still gonna grow quite a bit, and even just last year, we had this growing under the fence here, going over into our neighbor's yard and giving them fresh watermelons. So make sure that you know where you're planting it and what you're getting yourself into when you're putting melons in the ground. You're not even on a flower, man. You want some cantaloupe? Alrighty, over here we have some Hale's Best cantaloupe. Like any other melons, make sure it has enough airflow so that fresh air is coming through it. We get a great breeze here, which is awesome, but you may need to come through and prune every now and again if this is getting too crowded. Melons are susceptible to powdery mildew, and so we want to keep that at bay as long as possible so that these fruits, which this one takes over 70 days to reach maturity, make sure we're giving them the time that they need to really get nice and ripe. One plant isn't going to crowd itself too much, but if you have multiple plants next to each other, that's why it's so important to pay attention to the plant spacing, because if those are too close together, they're going to be competing, overcrowding, and you're just going to end up seeing pest and disease issues cropping up as a result. All right, number 4. This is the hard part, pinching a little bit of fruit off. Now, a lot of farmers will take off that very first melon. That gives the plant more time to grow. We, of course, want big, sweet melons. You're going to get those really good melons when the plant is bigger, has more photosynthesizing going on. If your plant's small and it's trying to grow 1, 2, 3 melons, it's just probably not going to be able to support that this early in the season. So let your plant develop, get some solar panels out there, if you will. By the time it's putting out new flowers, new fruits, it's able to really support those well. All right, so here we have a male flower. Melons do produce both males and females. You can pollinate on your own, but with the amount of flowers and fruits that we have growing on here, we're not worried about it. We let the birds and the bees take care of that. So these 2, we are going to pinch for a couple reasons. One, this plant is still pretty small. They're way too close together, but we're actually gonna take them both off because we want this whole plant to keep on growing, putting its energy into sending out more leaves, and then in a few weeks, we'll let it focus on shifting its energy over into the fruits. And we actually have a couple fruits that are growing nicely, so we might just leave 1 or 2 of those on the plant for now. Now, there's no exact number to how many fruits you want to thin down to, but usually that's going to be somewhere in the 3 to 6 range. But really important to know your garden, know your soil, know your plants and how they're growing, and pay attention to what they're telling you. If they're struggling, it's so much better to have 1 good fruit than 2 or 3 really junky ones. All right, and finally, number 5, let's take it home with the part we all love, which is harvesting. Now melons can be a little bit tricky. We've all been at the grocery store knocking on melons and sniffing them, doing all sorts of weird things at the grocery market, but when you've got your own, you can wait for them to develop until it's the perfect chance for you to enjoy it. So looking out for the smell is one thing. For cantaloupe, you can look at the striations on the outside, look at the coloring for watermelons, and we love to really look at the tendrils. The tendril closest to the fruit, of course, we're far from being ready to harvest, but that tendril next to the female flower, if that gets pollinated and starts to develop, we're gonna keep an eye on that. And as it dries up, that tells us that the fruit is about ready to harvest as well. So when that tendril dries from the tip all the way down to the base, then your fruit's gonna be ready to harvest. But if you're looking for something even easier, check out something like the Kajari melons. Those slip melons will fall right off the vine when they're ready. So you don't have to go around sniffing, poking, prodding, doing all sorts of funny things with your melons in your backyard. It'll just drop and be ready when it's ready. All right, so what do passion fruit have to do with melons? The combo between a fresh passion fruit and homegrown watermelon is the best. Just cut open each of them, scoop out a little bit of watermelon, toss your passion fruit juice right in there, mix it up, and it is so good. We like to make smoothies, just those two. We'll eat it straight, it's so good. And if you don't have a passion fruit, come on over. We've got plenty to share, and let us know what you think. Give this combo a try. It is, for us, it's become the taste of summer, hanging out by the pool, hanging out in the sun, some passion fruit, some watermelon. There's nothing like it.